Hey friends, here I am, and here you are, Peggy Hall, and I'm streaming live actually with a bonus video for you because there is so much news that you are asking me about, and I wanted to get up to date with what we're seeing going on in Davos, Switzerland, with one of the New World Disorder meetings in, as I say, Davos, and that is the World Economic Forum. Yes, the WEFers are at it again, marching us closer to one world government. Remember, a lot of these individuals are not elected, and they think that they can just steamroll over us and create their own types of organizations. That's what we're going to be looking at. What is Trump's Board of Peace? Or, as Elon Musk said, PIECE, a little piece of Greenland, a little piece of Venezuela. We're going to dig into all of that. Before we do any of that, let's just get right to the sponsor message so that we can return and answer the questions that you might have. And I'm going to be sharing with you why I'm concerned about Jared Kushner's involvement and Steve Witkoff's involvement, and who is on this Board of Peace, who isn't, and where we need to keep our focus. So let me do this. I'm going to share my screen and we are going to hop on over. Let's see, I'm on a different computer, so I'm trying to find all the right buttons to click. So let me do this. We're going to hop on over to my longtime sponsor, and that is over at noblegoldinvestments.com. And there we are. It looks like they've got some new information on their website. And the message I have for you is that if you are like me and over 40, maybe over 50 or 60, I'll just put it that way, and maybe you're planning to retire someday, the window to protect what you've already built may be smaller than you realize. And here's a question that most people don't ask. Is your portfolio built for what is coming next? Many investors in their 40s and their 50s discover they have little to no precious metals. And that's why I would love for you to go to noblegoldinvestments.com. You can get your hands on some physical gold. And if you don't have that, that means that your savings are largely tied to markets, policies, and paper assets with very little protection if conditions change. So as retirement changes from someday to right on the horizon, protecting what you've already built becomes just as important as growing it. So that's where Noble Gold comes in, and they have been helping investors reduce risk by adding physical gold to their portfolios. So right now may be a smart time for you to talk with Noble Gold Investments. I'll have a link for you in the description box below, along with the disclaimer that every investment carries a risk. So you'll want to check that out with the experts over at Noble Gold. Remember, there's no pressure, there's no sales gimmicks, just clear answers. You can actually find out what is a good fit for you and learn about how to create a strategy built around your goals. So I also wanted to let you know that there is this bonus, and if you are a new investor, you can get a 3-ounce American Virtues Independence Silver round. So check that out. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. All right, friends, I think I'm here somewhere. Are you here? I'm here. Oh my gosh, as I say, I'm on this different computer and I want to make sure that I can see you and you can see me. So, okay, yeah, here I am. Okay, friends, as I say, this is a bonus video, so I just want to make sure I've got everything linked up for you, because we are going to be taking a look at my I'm going to be taking a look at my notes here on my Substack, which is peggyhall.substack.com. And we're answering the question, what is Trump's Board of Peace? Well, I like to go right to the original source. And I have gone to the whitehouse.gov, and I will take you over there as well. It's getting a little hard for me to share my screen, but let me try that once more. And there we have it. There we are. President Trump ratifies the Board of Peace in historic ceremony, opening the path to hope and dignity for Gazans. Well, this is a very controversial move indeed. Now, even though this is dated January 22nd, and there was an announcement at the Davos, Switzerland, WEF, World Economic Forum, this was actually kind of put into place back in September by the United Nations. And here you see the Board of Peace. You might have caught some of this. I don't watch TV, you probably don't either, but I couldn't help but seeing my YouTube feed be flooded with this, and many of you were emailing me asking me to cover this as well. So I will have a link for you in my Substack where you can read this in more detail. And I will just give you a little bit of a summary here. So I will come off the screen share and we'll take a look at this Board of Peace. And we're going to dig into the Club of Rome and what that might mean as well. So on the website for the White House today, in a historic ceremony in Davos, Switzerland, President Donald J. Trump formally ratified the charter of the Board of Peace, establishing it as an official international organization. Trump, who is serving as the board's chairman, self-appointed chairman, was joined by founding members representing countries around the world who have committed to building a secure and prosperous future for Gaza that delivers lasting peace, stability, and opportunity for its people. Well, I'm all in favor of lasting peace and opportunity. I am questioning the strategy and the tactics that have been undertaken in order to do this. The White House goes on to say it's another pivotal step forward in realizing President Trump's vision of transforming Gaza from a region plagued by conflict and despair into one defined by opportunity, hope, and vitality. The Board of Peace stands ready to mobilize global resources, enforce accountability. Does that mean militarily? And guide the implementation of the next critical phase of demilitarization, governance reform, and large-scale rebuilding. Yes, the rebuilding that's going to be done by his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his real estate crony buddy, Steve Witkoff. We're going to be looking at that in just a moment. But first, what I want to look at is this quick video clip of Elon Musk basically joking about Trump's Board of Peace. Let's take a listen. I never thought I would be agreeing with Elon Musk on anything, but let's take a listen. Clip of, hang on. Let me mute that for a moment. And we want to hear from Elon. So here we go. Let me know if you have seen any of this coverage and if you have heard what Elon shared. All right, get that volume up. And here we go.
And I heard about the formation of the Peace Summit, and I was like, is that?
Take note of his Masonic gesture. I've covered this many times, friends. If you're new to the channel, please watch my videos about the signs and symbols. He's doing this intentionally to signal that he is one of the club that we ain't in, and that we don't want to be a part of. At least I don't.
Is that PIEC? A little piece of Greenland, a little piece of Venezuela. we got one. All we want is peace.
All right. Well, I would have to agree with Elon on that one, that it does seem like Trump wants a little piece of Gaza, or a big piece, and a big piece of Greenland. And of course, I've already covered Trump's meddling in Venezuela. By the way, whatever happened to Maduro? I can't get any updates on that. All I heard is that he's being held in prison and he's awaiting some sort of trial. What do you think? Okay, yeah, I think that's a lot of political theater also. So I have to say, Trump's comment at this World Economic Forum did make me nod my head in agreement. And what Trump wants to do basically is rebuild Gaza into the 15-minute smart city, some sort of high-tech, extravaganza. And I'll show you a couple of pictures of those in just a moment. So again, Musk said the Board of Peace, P-I-E-C-E, a little piece of Greenland, a little piece of Venezuela, and then he and the audience laughed. So the comment makes me think that Musk might be trotted out sort of as the court jester, because the court jester is supposed to make all of us laugh and not really think deeply about what actually is going on here. In other words, non-Gazans meddling in that country, and I've done plenty of coverage on this before. I'm no fan of Netanyahu, but Jared Kushner is. So getting back to Musk, it's almost as if he is trotted out so that we'll have a little comedic relief. And he will also voice the opinion and the perspective that, at least that I share, and maybe others share as well, like, what is this Board of Peace? It sounds like something from 1985. And by the way, didn't Trump change the Department of Defense to the Department of War? So wouldn't this rather be the Board of War? It doesn't really add up for me. So it sounds like this might be the first step in Trump's desire to get all of these pieces in his kingdom. What kingdom is that, you ask? Well, it has to do with the Club of Rome. My savvy, sophisticated, healthy Americans have been reminding me in the comment section that a lot of what Trump is doing in terms of going after Greenland sounds like he is intending to implement the Club of Rome's 10 regions or 10 kingdoms plan, which has to do with economic and political regions instead of having individual independent nations. So I'm going to show you and talk a little bit more about the Club of Rome because it's pretty much a defunct organization. It doesn't really have a lot of power. So again, I think that Musk was trotted out to have everybody say, oh yeah, there's that quirky, eccentric guy again. Oh, he can get away with saying these things and giving the love salute that he does. Yes, don't get that confused with any sort of Nazi fascism gesture. It was just Musk saying that he loves you, and I did deep coverage on that as well. But let's take a look here at the Club of Rome, and we'll see what these 10 regions are. Let me see if I can make that a little bigger for you. This is actually coming from my Substack here. So, and the Club of Rome started in the 1960s in Rome. I guess we are told that all roads lead to Rome. And in 1974, it came out with this idea of 10 regions. How they numbered these regions is beyond me. You've got region number 1, which is the United States, and you see Canada and Greenland. And then you've got, if we read left to right, which we do in the Western world, then you've got region 2, which looks like most of Eastern Europe. And then you've got region 5. Oh, that makes perfect sense. And then if you go back to the second layer and you read left to right, now we've got region 6, and then region 7, and then region 9 and 10 and region 3, and then we've got region 8 and region 9, and then region 4 and region 4 again. So I think that is very strange and shows us that Trump possibly is following this Club of Rome by going after Greenland, but many are saying that he has said that he wants to go after Mexico and Panama and Cuba, and possibly Venezuela and other countries in South America. And here we see that those are actually in region 6. So when it comes to the Club of Rome and Trump doing this manifest destiny to carry out the Club of Rome's plan for the 10 kingdoms, I don't really see that as happening because this shows the United States being lumped just with Greenland and Canada. And Canada, maybe they're doing political theater as well, is really snubbing any overture by Trump. So we know that Trump has said that he wants to take Cuba, Mexico, Panama, and that does not fit into the Club of Rome's regions. And again, that numbering system is so bizarre. So maybe that's why the Club of Rome is pretty much a defunct organization. As I say, it started in the late 60s. They're trying to stay relevant. The most recent thing that I found out about them, here, I'll show you that website as well, is they are coming up with some sort of strange Earth Humanity Reconciliation. Here you have it, the Club of Rome. You can just go to clubofrome.org and find out more about that. But I don't see them as really big players in the New World Disorder any longer. But I want to thank everybody who is aware of that and who brought that to my attention. So going a little further, the Earth Humanity Reconciliation, that sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook to me, but it's pretty clear that Trump wants to be man of the hour. He wants to be the Prince of Peace, basically, which is how he almost described himself several months ago when he signed this, what we're told is the historic peace treaty between Israel and Gaza. And yes, of course, the Prince of Peace name has already been taken, which is why this Board of Peace is so troubling to me. So we looked at the White House press release. What I want to talk about now are a few of the key points of this Board of Peace. Number one, Trump is the self-appointed chairman. Number two, the UN did approve of this board with its resolution called 2803. And that was a temporary peacekeeping mission to aid with the rebuilding of Gaza. But many people are saying that Trump's new vision is really coloring outside the lines and does not have any sort of approval. And we can see that only 19 out of the 62 invited countries signed on to the charter. And notably absent are the European countries. So France was not there. Germany was absent, the UK was absent, Italy was absent, and Canada was absent. And then Trump made a big deal out of saying, well, I'm disinviting Canada. They're not invited after all. And then Canada kind of did a tit for tat and said, well, then we're going to go have a special visit to China and improve our relations with China. Again, is this just another theatrical ploy? Because at the end of the day, all of these countries are going to be working toward this one world government, the New World Disorder, as I call it. Now, critics have said that Trump's Board of Peace is basically a top-down project to assert Trump's control over government affairs, and Trump himself has boasted that this Board of Peace could actually replace the United Nations. Now, friends, I am no fan of the United Nations. I think it's outdated, it's unnecessary. It basically was put into place to create the state of Israel and to create this body of unelected by me, representatives to basically usher us into this new world disorder and this one world government. So no, I am not in favor of it. And I'm not in favor of a Trump-run organization replacing it, because it just looks like it is poised to grant favors to his real estate cronies. And I'll show you a couple of pictures here. Steve Witkoff, I've covered this individual before because he is Trump's special envoy to the Middle East. And more importantly, he's Trump's real estate crony, and he runs the Witkoff group that I think he put his son in charge of after he got back into politics. Witkoff I'm talking about. And he's done billions and billions of dollars in real estate development in the Middle East, in New York, in the United States, in Florida. And this is the guy who is going to be basically calling the shots with Trump's son-in-law. Can you spell the word nepotism? I think you can define that word, right? That's his son-in-law. So I want to show you a couple of these pictures if I got them here. And let me do this. All right, sharing my screen again. Here we go. Let me know if you saw any of this coverage, because there also was a video. Here we've got Witkoff and yucking it up with the CIA director and the highly unpopular Netanyahu. And let's not forget that Kushner had a similar idea about bulldozing Gaza when he gave a talk at Harvard. This is probably going on 2 years now. He said, I think we need to just finish the job. He said, we need to clear it out and finish the job. He said, I don't really know where the people would go, but we really basically need to complete the demolition. So here's Kushner being greeted with a Masonic handshake. There you see it. And of course, Kushner is Jewish. And I think that's of note because we're talking about this Jewish fellow, Netanyahu, and how this basically is going to benefit Israel. And the critics say that this is a part of the greater Israel plan. And don't forget that at yet another United Nations meeting, Netanyahu showed a map of greater Israel that included Israelis living in what is currently the Gaza Strip. And here's Kushner giving his speech at the World Economic Forum. He's just another good old WEFer, and there's his Masonic hidden hand. And he held that pose for quite some time. I have a link for you for that video as well. Everyone said it was impossible, says Jared Kushner. And here he is with that other strange gesture, that bent thumb gesture that I've covered, seeing many of the Masonics. That's what I'll call them, the Freemasons, doing that gesture. So what Kushner likes is basically to bomb back better and get a clean slate for his development plans. And here they are. Here's the master plan for the Gaza Strip. And I know this is small, difficult to see on screen, which is why I'm going to refer you again to the Substack. But here, this purple, purple is notable also for those in the know. And here we've got the ocean, and this is all the tourism. This is going to be 180 mixed use towers. And then we've got residential in the yellow, and then we've got highway. Actually, the purple are the highways, the yellow are the high rises. I call them sky rises. And then there's going to be a loop. And when you look at this and you break it down, it pretty much looks like one of those 15-minute smart cities where they let you in, but they don't let you out. And in a separate video, I'm going to break down the Board of Peace logo because it definitely links back to the golden age that Trump is always talking about, the Hermeticism and the other links to Rome, and that deserves its own video. So maybe I'll have another bonus video for you tomorrow. But here we can see that there's a transportation hub, there's an energy and digital infrastructure, and then here is the mock-up of the sky rises. So gee, let me ask you, you think your everyday Palestinians are going to be living there in those sky rises? Who's going to be living there? And who's going to be affording it? So you're telling me that the genocided, I meant to say displaced Gazans are going to move into those fancy oceanfront sky rises. Jared said there will be amazing investment opportunities. And of course, he is going to be behind all of that. So I will leave this video for you to listen to, friends. What I wanted to share with you are the comments. And I thought that the comments were even more important than the video. And here we've got this game changer talent says, unelected, self-dealing, religious, predatory, capitalist clowns that do not serve nor represent working class Americans. That is really troubling to me. Did the Gazans elect these individuals on the Board of Peace that are now going to run their territory? How do you figure that out? Well, that's what they don't want us to ask. And they don't want us to figure it out. Standing firm in my stance left these comments, which I have not vetted, but I'm just going to share with you. And it says, a few Kushner facts. Plans to turn Gaza into an all-driven smart city with his Project Sunrise plan. Let me know if you've heard about that. I just got these comments before I came on air, so I'll need to dig into that a bit more. Jared Kushner has known Netanyahu since he was a kid. Kushner brokered the largest real estate purchase when he acquired 666 building for his business headquarters. Jared's name is translated to 666. Again, I haven't done that myself. I'm just reading this comment. And Jared is 6'3", which is also 6'3", 666. And Macro Future says, demolition stage complete. That's why I called it Bomb Back Better. And I have a video for you called Bomb Back Better. And I've got a Substack as well. I've got several Substacks covering what's going on in the Middle East. Again, this used to be an area of great interest to me. I've got a master's degree in international policy studies, economics, law, and I don't have a law degree, but I studied international law when I was getting my master's degree. And I had my area of expertise was the Middle East. I've always been fascinated because I'm a problem solver, and sad to say, these problems still persist. Some would say, well, it's definitely because of religious reasons, and you can connect the dots, or connect the clots, as I like to say, and figure out exactly what those people are missing when it comes to their faith. I mentioned the Prince of Peace earlier, and I'll just leave on that note. All right, friends, thank you for joining me in this bonus broadcast. There's so much to cover, and I will be back with you later, not today, not this evening, but in a later broadcast where we'll look at that logo for the Board of Peace, because I think that it, as the saying goes, a picture's worth 1,000 words, and there have been a lot of words shared about that logo, what people are thinking it means, and how Some of them just said it looked like it was created by AI. I tend to agree with them. Let me know if you have more on this. You can always email me, support@thehealthyamerican.org. And let's take a quick look, see who is on board with us in this special broadcast and live stream. Okay, BD Bond says it is a money-making scheme. Steven says Kushner is someone to watch. And Rhonda says, what season of this series are we in? Oh my gosh. Tanya says, everyone on the world stage agrees with Trump. They're all playing a part and they all get along. Well, Augie says, thank you, Peggy. Spot on as always. I really appreciate you, friends. It looks like we are of like minds. And as I'll say it, I said it before and I'll say it again. I am not after Trump. I'm not after Kushner. I am after the truth, and I am after freedom. And I can't stand to be bamboozled, hoodwinked, which is what they do to the Freemasons when they are taking their initiation, and duped. I am after the truth, and I will continue to search for that, seek that, and expose that, and also expose the evildoers when I see them. All right, signing off for now, and I look forward to seeing you in an upcoming broadcast. Be sure to get on that free Substack. You can see the links, and you can watch more, and pass it on with others that need to learn about this as well.